everyone. Welcome back to another exciting day in mathematics. Whoop, whoop. Warm-up 58 is on your screen. Let's get started, please. By now, you guys are experts at all that, right? Am I right? Am I right? Yes, Mr. Q. All right, good. I'll give you guys some time for that, and we'll get started right away. All right, here we go. Number one, we need a compound inequality. What'd you get for that one? Let's go with Rachel. Go. Five is less than x, less than or equal to 8. Hands if you got that. Looks about right. And if you set that in set notation, should look like that, and so on and so forth. Number two, cross multiply and solve. We need two x values. Pass someone, Rachel. Gabriel. -6 and -4. Kind of, sort of, but let me just double check. We got x squared minus 4 equals to 10x plus 20. From there we subtract 10x and subtract 20 from each side. Subtract 10x, subtract 20. We end up with x squared minus 10x minus 24 equal to 0. -24 and -10. What two numbers multiply give me -24? And when you add them, give us -10. -12 and +2. So therefore, x minus 12, x plus 2, all that equal to 0. So the correct answers are 12 and -2. Hands if you got that. All right. We need an equation for number 3 for the graph. Pass someone. Gabriel. Sebastian. F of x. 1x plus 3. Hands if you got that. That is correct. All right, let's go to number 4. We need an inverse for number 4. So I'm just going to label it F inverse of x, and I need an equation for that. Pass someone, Sebastian. Ooh, I get to pick someone? What? How about Elijah? What'd you get, Elijah? All right, what is the first thing we do, Mario? Yeah, change to y. That is correct. 3/5 x plus 3, bless you, minus 3 minus 3. We end up with y minus 3 equals 3/5 x. How do we get rid of that 3/5? Yesterday we said that it was the what? The reciprocal, 5/3. Multiply each side times 5/3. So we're left with x equals, distribute, we end up with 5/3 y, and then 5 times -3 is -15/3. All right, but that's not the inverse, is it? No, until we swap the what? The variable. So it's 5/3 x, -15, and divided by 3, that's -5 equals to y. Therefore, my new inverse function is 5/3 x minus 5 equals f inverse of x. Ooh-wee. So make sure you got that down, because today I think we left off there yesterday. So today we're going to be working on that. All right, send that in, please. Copy the agenda. All right, warm-up number 58 is done. Semester 1 concepts and skills review. We're still in the middle of the study guide. Tonight, keep going to see if you can finish the whole thing, which I know some of you already did, which is really good. Appreciate it. All right. And hopefully by tomorrow we'll be able to finish the whole thing. So, all right. All right. LHVB7, you have access to this presentation, LHVB7. It's our code. All right. All right. So, our objective for today, I can master semester 1 concepts and skills. We're going to continue where we left off yesterday in the study guide. However, today, do me a favor, put away everything just to keep the Chromebook in front of you. The Chromebook, your pen, pencil, put everything else away. Including the study guide, including your notes, yes. That is correct. All right, y'all ready? Here we go. Number 5. Turn your new study guide to number 5, and it reads, find the inverse function. So let me zoom in. To get started, we're going to find the inverse of that one, which is very similar to the one we did on the warm-up. Is that correct? Yes, Mr. Q. So with that said, find the inverse of this one. So Mario, what is the first thing we do? Yeah, change to y. That is correct. So y equals 3/4 x minus 1. From there, we're going to solve for x. So help me out, Gio. Go. I need to leave x by itself. Add 1, add 1. We're left with y plus 1 equals 3/4 x. I need to leave x by itself. What else do I do? Pass someone, Gio? Enrique? To get rid of 3/4, I multiply times what? 4 over 3, the reciprocal. That is correct. You do that to both sides, 4/3. This is a giant 1, so we're left with x equals, distribute, 4/3 y plus 4/3. Is that the inverse? No. Pass someone, Enrique. Mario, what do I do next to make it the inverse? You switch them. That is correct. Switch the variables. So we end up with 4/3 x plus 4/3 equals to y. And now we just need it in function notation, yes? All right, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to use red for function notation, so f of x with a little negative to indicate that's the inverse. And now, look up, I'm going to leave it in slope-intercept form. So 4/3 x plus, we need a decimal here. What is 4/3 in decimal form? 1.3. So now that we found the inverse, this is the inverse. Label it inverse. And of course, this one I'm going to do, the original I'm going to do in blue, box it and put OG or original. So let's graph the one in blue first. Yeah? Yes, Missy Q. All right. So, Mario, pass them on. Caitlin, where do we start, Caitlin, on the blue one? Where do we start to graph that? -1 of y. So we go to -1 of y, which is right here. And where do we get that from? This part right here. That's our y-intercept. And in case you forgot, I'm following this pattern, mx plus b, where the last part is our y-intercept. And the number multiplying the x, or next to the x, is our what? Our slope. Our slope. All right, so let's use the slope to plot more points. The rise is what? 3 and 4 to the right. So let's do 3 up from here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fine. All right, now let's graph the inverse. This one over here. All right, where do I start? Tell your neighbor, and then Caitlin's going to pass it to someone. Tell your neighbor where to start for that one in red. Pass someone. Joseph, let's go. Where do I start? 1.3. So of y, so we go 1 and 1/3 is about right there. And then we use the slope. What is my slope, Joseph? That means 4 steps up and 3 to the right. So from here, I need to take 4 steps up. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. So this is f inverse of x. And the blue one you label what? F of x. All right. Not bad, not bad. Send me your notes on the screen. Number 6. Yeah. Yeah, on the day of the final, guys, you can bring your highlighters and your color pens and use all that. That's fine. Number 6, it says, isolate the absolute value expression in the following equation to determine if they can be solved. If so, find and graph the solutions, then write, if not, write no solution. So, let's do this one together. I'm going to rewrite it to the right side, so rewrite that equation on the right. We got -8 times, that's what it means when it's next to the absolute value, -x minus 6, close the absolute value, plus 10 equals 2. Now, at the beginning of the school year, I only did a couple of these. We didn't really do much because I thought it was just review, but here goes again. So they're asking us to leave the absolute value by itself. So, to get started, line down the equal sign, circle the absolute value, and we need to leave the absolute value by itself by doing inverse operations. So what operations do we have outside of the absolute value? So the -8 is multiplying and the 10 is adding. So where do I start to get rid of stuff? Like if it was a regular equation, I would start with what? Addition, right? So that means I need to subtract 10 to each side. That leaves us negative 8 times negative x minus 6 equals to negative 8. So we still need to leave what? The absolute value by itself. So what's next to it? The negative 8. And what is it doing? Multiplying. So what is the inverse? Divide by negative 8. We do that to both sides. And that leaves us with absolute value, negative x minus 6 equals 1. All right? So now that we have the absolute value by itself, at this point, we're going to make two equations. One for the negative and one for the positive. In case you forgot, absolute value means is the distance between two numbers, but in this case between a number and 0. That's why we have a negative and a positive side, negative positive side. So the 1 becomes negative 1 and stays positive 1. And then we make an equation with whatever's inside the absolute value, negative x minus 6, negative x minus 6. And then we solve each equation. Plus 6 plus 6, negative x equals 5. And then to get rid of this negative, we divide by negative 1. X equals negative 5. Let's do the other one. Plus 6 plus 6, negative x equals 7. Divide by negative 1. X equals negative 7. So, plot the answers. Negative 5, negative 7, and the answer for this, look up guys, you do it in a bracket, and you write negative 7, negative 5. That's our solution. All right? Send me your notes, please. The face of the square.
Wait, what?
To practice together? For you to practice by yourself? Yeah, we got this, huh, Gabriel? Let's go. Solve each problem using an absolute value inequality. So, it says, on average, a squirrel lives to be 6.5 years old. The lifespan of a squirrel may vary by as much as 1.5 years. What is the range of the ages of the squirrel that the squirrel lives? Now, before we answer this one, look up, please. Look at the absolute value, and I'm going to look at from here. Look at this part. Which of these numbers becomes positive and negative? Tell your neighbor, which one of these numbers becomes positive and negative? Gio, which one? Which one of these numbers becomes positive and negative? The what? Only one number. The 1. Hands if you agree with that? Yeah, because we make it negative here and a positive here. Yes? Okay. So that means that is the number that we need to think about when we set up our new absolute value for this one. So check this out. To set up an absolute value for this one, we write this. Absolute value, x minus blank, close the absolute value. We're using an equal sign, and then blank. So, by looking at the information here, it says that the squirrel lives 6.5 years, but it varies by as much as what? So question, which one of these is a plus minus number? Talk it over your neighbor. Is it 6.5 or 1.5? Which one is a plus minus? Like Mario's got it. I see you, Mario. So let's go with Franco. Which one do you think, Franco? 1.5. Yeah, because it varies by that much, which means it either goes up or less than 1.5. So that number goes right here. Which means that the other number has to go where? Inside 6.5. And the rest is history. Let's solve this. From this point, since the absolute value is by itself, we do 2 equations. One for the negative 1.5 and one for the positive 1.5. So negative 1.5, positive 1.5, and an equation using whatever's inside, which is x minus 6.5, x minus 6.5. All right, let's solve. Plus 6.5 plus 6.5, x equals 6.5 minus 1.5 is, bless you, 5. Look at this one. Plus 6.5 plus 6.5, x equals 6.5 plus 1.5 is 8. All right. So, let's read this and answer the question. It says, what is the range of ages that squirrels lives, that a squirrel lives? So talk it over to your neighbor, give them a statement for the answer. What is the range of ages that a squirrel lives? Statement. Franco, pass them on. Joseph, a squirrel lives a lifespan between 5 and what? 8. And 8 years. 10Q. Aw. That's a little years, right? Send me your notes, please. Once again, for this one, make sure you do the work and then you answer with a statement at the end. Lesson. All right, number 8, read. Solve the equation 3x squared minus 6 equals to 6 using the indicated method, which is 3 different methods. So we're going to start with the easiest one that I think, which will be C. So on part C, you're going to write the equation again. 3x squared minus 6 equals to 6. And we're going to be using square roots, which by now you know how to use, right? All right. So we need to leave x by itself. So what do? Joseph, pass him one. Elijah. Add 6 to both sides. We end up with 3x squared equals 12. Pass him one. Renzo. We need to leave x by itself. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. X squared equals 4. And since this is called what, everyone? Square roots. What do we do at the end? Square root. Square root. X equals plus minus 2. How many answers do we have, everyone? 2. A positive 2 and a negative 2. Okay. Is it coming back, some of y'all? Yeah? Okay, good. So that was by square roots. Let's go now by factoring. So let's write the equation again underneath where it says by factoring. 3x squared minus 6 equals 6. All right, for this one, we need to set it equal to 0. So tell your neighbor what to do to set it equal to 0. What do? Renzo, pass him one. Franco. Subtract 6, subtract 6. We got 0 equals 3x squared minus 12. Okay. So now that we set it equal to 0, now we have to do what? What is the word here? Factor. Can we factor this binomial? Yes, Mr. Q, by checking what? All right, tell your neighbor. What do we check for? All right, Franco, pass him one. Joseph? GCF, what is that? 3, so we're left with x squared minus 4 equals to 0. We're still not done factoring because we can factor this one inside. Tell your neighbor what this one becomes. What does that become? See if you remember. Joseph, pass someone. Mario. You. X plus 2. X minus 2. And how did Mario find that? Well, it's a binomial. Square root of this is x and x. Square root of 4 is positive 2 and negative 2. So now that we have 3 factors, we set each one equal to 0. 3 equal to 0. X plus 2 equal to 0. X minus 2 equal to 0. And we solve. This is not true, so we eliminate it. Minus 2 minus 2. X equals negative 2. This one plus 2 plus 2. X equals 2. All right? So, our solutions here are these two. And what were the solutions that we got for the square root method? Plus and minus 2. That is correct. Same answer. Oh, let's go. All right. Let me zoom out. Let's go to our last method. Our last method is by graphing. So let's write the equation right here next to, again, we got 3x squared minus 6 equals 6. I'm going to zoom in. Now, does anybody have any doubt what the answer is for the same equation? It's what? Positive 2 and negative 2. For all three methods, it should be the same, right? So for graphing, it should be the same. So let me zoom in. Here we go. For graphing, we need to set it equal to 0 again, and then change the 0 to y. So, to change it to 0, what do? Joseph? Subtract 6, subtract 6. We end up with 3x squared minus 12 equal to 0. And then we change the 0 to what? Back to the original, which is y. Now, why do we need to change it to y, Mr. Q? Because at this point, since we need to graph, think about it. What do you do in order to graph a function? Tell your neighbor, what do you do? What do you do to graph a function? Joseph, pass someone. Elijah, what do we do? X and Y table, yes, that is correct. A table. And what values? Negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. All right, so I'm going to write my equation. I'm going to bring it over here just so that I can do some work. 3 parentheses squared minus 12 equals to y. So my first x value would be negative 2. Are you all ready? All right. So following the order of operations, here we go. 3 times, what is negative 2 squared? 4 minus 12 equals y. So what is 3 times 4? 12 minus 12 equals y, which means 0 equals y, so that goes right there. Next one, let's do it again. 3 parentheses squared minus 12 equals to y, but now we're going to substitute negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 squared is 1 minus 12 equals y. What is 3 times 1? 3 minus 12 equals y. What is 3 minus 12? Negative 9 equals y. That is correct. Negative 9. Let's do it again. 3 parentheses squared minus 12 equals y. My next value is 0. So that means 0 times 3 or squared, that's still 0, and that leaves us what? Negative 12. All right, I'll let you finish the last two by yourself. Finish the last two. Hurry up. I'll wait for you. All right, pass them on, Elijah. Joseph, next value. Negative 9, and the last value? 0. Hands if you got that. That is correct. Let me zoom out. And let's graph that. Here we go. Negative 2, 0. Negative 2, 0. Negative 1, negative 9. Negative 1, negative 9 is way down here somewhere. I'm just going to put a point right here. 0. Mine is way down here. Okay, hold up. Let me move this point over. -1, -9. 0, -12. It's still way somewhere down here. 1, -9. And 2, 0. Now, before you send anything in, look up. We graphed it, but what is the solution? How do we know? Yeah, whenever the graph crosses the x-axis, so that's what I want to see on the final, you point to them right here, and you write solutions. Solutions, where? Where they cross the x-axis. Ah. All right, send that in, please. Whew. That was a good one, huh, Gable? Go. Look at that. How beautiful that is. On a t-shirt, huh, Jesus? Like Q merch. Let's go. All right, number 9. Find the polynomial that models the problem and use it to estimate the quantity. Number 9. It says, a rectangle has a length of x and a width of that. 5x cubed plus 4 minus x squared. Find the perimeter when the rectangle is 5, the length is 5 feet. All right, so first of all, we need to sketch a rectangle. Is that correct? Yeah? Yes, Mr. Q. All right, so sketch a rectangle. Label it. So the length, x, I'm going to make that this one. And the width is 5x cubed plus 4 minus x squared. 5x cubed plus 4 minus x squared. So we need to find the perimeter of that rectangle, but represented with a polynomial. How do we find the perimeter of any figure? Remind your neighbor. How do we find the perimeter of any figure? Then Mario's going to enlighten us. How do we find the perimeter of any figure? Mario, how do we find it? In your own words, how do we find the perimeter of any figure? Any figure, in your own words. If I gave you a triangle, how do I find the perimeter? If I gave you a pentagon, a hexagon, an octagon, how do we find the perimeter of any figure? Add all sides. That is correct. How many sides do we have on this one? 4. So side plus side plus side plus side. So perimeter, x plus x. We got this one and this one. Plus 5x cubed plus 4 minus x squared plus 5x cubed plus 4 minus x squared. And then we combine all like terms, yes? Let's start with the highest degree. 5x cubed plus 5x cubed. 10x cubed. Next, negative x squared and negative x squared. That's negative 2x squared. Next, I got x plus x. What is that? 2x. And last but not least, we got positive 4 and positive 4. That's positive 8. And then you're going to label this polynomial. So that's the first part that they want us to find. Find the polynomial. There it is. Yes? However, are we done? No, Mr. Q, they want us to find the perimeter when the length is how many feet? Or in other words, when x is 5. So the last step, here we go. Write P 10 times, in parentheses, Q, minus 2 times, in parentheses, squared, plus 2 times, in parentheses, plus 8. And we substitute the value of 5 into those. All right? So here we go. Perimeter, 10 times. What is 5 cubed? 5 times 5 times 5. Mario, pass them one. Geo, 5 times 5 times 5. 125 minus 2 times, what is 5 times 5? 25 plus 2 times 5 is 10 plus 8. All right. We're getting there. Perimeter, 10 times 125 is 1,250, minus 2 times 25 is 50, plus 10 plus 8 is 18. All right, so perimeter. 1250 minus 50 is 1,200 plus 18. The answer is 1218. And did they give us, oh, it's in feet. Feet. All right. Send me a picture of your notes, please. We're going to stop right there. That was number 9. Once again, continue by yourself to practice on your own. Tomorrow we continue with numbers 10. Hopefully we'll finish the rest tomorrow. I know they took us long with that 3 different ways type of thing. All right. Those of you following on YouTube, make sure you put in some practice. See you guys next time. Peace.